Hey guys, thanks for joining me for a new video. Sorry I'm posting it a little late. I actually just recorded my video for tomorrow with Juna from Detour Shirts. That video is going to be about Amazon merch pricing based on some experiments that we ran this fourth quarter, which is like the best time of year to run experiments. So look forward to that video tomorrow. But in today's video, I'm going to share with you some vintage hex color codes, which I realized I shouldn't have put that in the thumbnail because that's kind of like a web developer way of saying, hey, I'm going to share with you some color schemes that look good on t-shirt designs. And none of these are original. Essentially what I did is I went to Amazon merch and I just kind of studied some of the best-selling shirts and how they used color. And so what you're going to see in this video is me referencing the shirts, and then basically before I recorded the video, I went into Photoshop and color picked all of the colors kind of in order that they used them in, because I think it looks really nice. And oftentimes you can use this for like doing your designs, but you can also use this for text-based t-shirts. Like, don't overlook that. I was on a consulting call today and I actually showed a handful of my shirts that were selling, or that sold today, that were selling well. And one of the things that I didn't even think about was how well text-based designs can sell if you just use some of these like vintage, or I call them vintage. It can be any color scheme really. But if you just pick good colors, you know, the text doesn't have to just be generic white text on a black shirt. You can get creative. So that's your tip for today for the intro, but let's get started with this video. Real quick, just wanted to remind you that you can use the link in the description and check out my free 8-day print-on-demand mini course. And right next to that link, I have a link to my print-on-demand Facebook group, over 10,000 members strong. I'd love to have you if you would like to join. All right, so vintage slash, I need to stop calling it vintage. These aren't all vintage. I don't know why I just default to saying that. But let's look at our color scheme number one. I don't know. I want to call them like the vintage sunset color scheme because that's how they're often used. But they're not all sunsets. Like for instance, this one is just kind of a rectangle pattern. And this one is not based on a t-shirt on Amazon merch. It's just based on a pattern that I used in the thumbnail for this video. And I actually pulled it from the website AllSunsets, which I'll put a link in the description. And I'll show you, I just want to show you some of the patterns that they have on that website, which I'll show you at the end of the video, just so you get an idea of like what you can expect if you choose to join, because they've got a lot of good stuff and a lot of color schemes that you can borrow too. So anyways, for this rainbow color scheme, I'm going to call it rainbow because I think it is. You can see here, and I'm not going to read you the hex codes, but the hex codes are useful for any graphic design software that you use. Like in Canva, you know, you can go to the color picker and copy paste these hex codes into the color picker and it'll pick that exact color. You know, you can do the same in Photoshop, Photopea, whatever it is that you use. They all pretty much support copy pasting these hex color codes. Me personally, when I see these, I start thinking of writing CSS for websites, but I know that that is a completely different story than doing print on demand. But this is the type of things we don't memorize these, but we use these all the time in web development, front end web development. So, anyways, you have your you know, dark red kind of shifting to more of a burnt orange, to a light orange, to a like tangerine yellowish, to a yellowish brownish color. And then it switches over to the blues. You got teal switching into a darker blue, and then an even darker blue than the secondary teal. So that's how I would describe this. And again, you know what I'll do? I'll put these in the description for you as well so that you can grab them easier. The second t-shirt. So this one is selling really well. I guess it's regarding rescuing cats. And you can see the color scheme is pretty basic. It's only 5 colors. And what I like about this style of color scheme, I think this one can be called vintage. I think you can get away with it. Is that unlike the, well, no, this one too. These are kind of like bold colors that from red to blue, like there's a lot of colors in between. They're pretty complementary colors if you go from the extremes. You know, like if you look at the lightest red versus the darkest blue, this color scheme is very similar. So you can see the only 5 colors. It goes kind of from an orangish red to that yellowish, kind of like a dark yellow mixed with brown maybe, to that tan, to the teal, to the darker teal, darker blue. And one interesting thing too, if you use these kind of color schemes in design, you can do something similar to what you see here in this shirt, in that you can like overlay a silhouette of something, like in this case a cat, and you can either cut out the the silhouette of the cat so that the background of the shirt color shows through, or you can just leave it as a solid color. And in this case, it looks like they applied a stroke to the cat silhouette as well of the red color. This one, Mandalorian t-shirt. By the way, these are selling really well. I still haven't watched The Mandalorian, but everybody keeps talking about how good it is, so don't worry, that will be on the watch list. We've been watching a lot of Christmas movies lately, but after the holiday passes, we'll get back into some better, well, not better, but we'll get into some TV. I need to watch The Mandalorian, essentially, is what I mean by that, because I know everybody said it was amazing. All right, so this I am not, unlike if this was in my top trends of the week video, you would not want to copy this, right? But in the sense of, hey, look at the color scheme. You know, you can trust that Disney, which owns the rights to Star Wars, which owns the rights to The Mandalorian, or it takes place in the Star Wars universe, that they've hired some of the world's best designers, you know? Like, if you are struggling from a design perspective, you don't need to look very far. Like, literally go and look at the top brands selling through Amazon merch or through Amazon in general. So here, again, I just looked at the color scheme, how the colors kind of contrasted and flowed one into the next. And I came up with another 5-color hex, I keep saying hex, I don't need to say hex, but a 5-color scheme that I think looks really good. And I really like these, what should I call it? Kind of like subtle. I should have invited my girlfriend to be on this video with me because she works in like the art space, and I feel like she would know how to describe these colors. And hopefully she doesn't see this video because she'll make fun of me. But these are kind of like lighter color schemes, more pastel, that's the word I'm thinking of. Kind of a pastel yellow flows into that nice orangish, I don't know, tan, dark orange, pink, red. All right, next one. And I chose this shirt because this is kind of different than the ones I feel like I've shown previously. Maybe not this one, but the previous two. You know, the rainbow followed by, I wouldn't call this a rainbow, but there's a lot more. These are more like complementary colors that I think flow nicely together. And then with the Mandalorian one, they're all kind of pastels. Like they seem like on the color wheel, they'd be closer together. You don't have like extremes involved in the color scheme. And this one's kind of the same, right? It's yellow, orange, 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 red, you know? So from yellow to red and the oranges in between. I picked this design though, because it reminded me of a shirt that I was also showing earlier today when I did a consulting call, which by the way, you can book calls with me. I don't really like to take a lot of calls because I do have a lot of work to do, but there is a link in the description where you can essentially pay for my time and I can help you with anything that I bring expertise to. So that's why I keep saying these consulting calls. Did a couple of them today. But anyways, I was showing some of my personal designs that had sold recently, and I have a design that is completely unrelated to the Lion King, but very related to the sunset graphic that you see there. Imagine there's no silhouettes. So I have a sunset graphic that I've used in conjunction with AutomatePOD, which is that Chrome extension that can automate the design process. And for whatever reason, man, maybe one day I'll just show you the design. The issue is I just don't want anybody like reporting my designs and then getting me removed from Amazon merch, because it only takes like one person that knows how to do that, and then I'm just screwed, you know? Look at my Etsy videos if you don't believe me. So I used a design though where I'll even tell you. So what I did differently when I used this sort of a theme with that graphic style was I used a gradient in the lettering, which I don't do commonly, but I decided to do it with a couple different design styles. Like, I'm still not doing it most of the time, but I did it with like this theme of a design. Again, not Lion King, just talking about like the color scheme, and the sunset looked very similar to this one. And the gradient in the text, I think like people really liked, because it's made a bunch of sales. It makes almost daily sales on Amazon merch. So just throwing it out there, maybe experiment with some gradient overlays on your text. The one thing I'd say is be strategic with the colors of the shirts you make it available for sale on. Like if I'm doing gradient text, I don't want to list that design on a bunch of colors of shirts. Like I only want to use colors of shirts where I know it's going to contrast really well, really bold. So I'm pretty sure, I mean, I can double check, but I know you guys don't care that much, but I'm pretty sure I only selected black colored t-shirts for that design, like for that design style, because I knew that the best contrast I was going to get out of this color scheme that involves, you know, yellow to oranges to red was against that black colored shirt. So I'm pretty sure that's what I did, and it's working. So this one is a mountain. Well, the mountain, I guess, doesn't matter. That's just a silhouette, or not even a silhouette, actually. It's a graphic overlaid on the the very soft kind of, again, softer color pastel range in this color scheme. It goes from a light kind of pastel blue to a green to a tan to an orange to a light red to a darker red. And I'm a big fan of this color scheme. I think it looks great. And then the last one for this video, this one I had some fun with here. I grabbed a design from Thor. And again, this is some of the best designers in the world creating these designs. But they had some fun. This brings to mind some like Miami Vice kind of vibes with the electric colors. And I'm not even going to try to describe it. If you guys are listening to the podcast, because I do release this in audio format, just think of Miami Vice. Think of the electric blues to the electric purples to the electric pinks is essentially what they did for this Thor Ragnarok shirt. And I'm loving this color scheme, even though I don't think I have the skill to execute well using it, but I just wanted to share it. All right, and then I told you I'd mention AllSunsets really quickly, so there's a link in the description. If you do end up signing up, you know, it supports the channel a little bit. But AllSunsets, I use them for virtually, unless I'm doing a text-only design, I'm using them for probably 4 out of every 5 designs that I create. And what's great about them, number one, is that they're affordable. Like, you get a 1-year license for $27 normally, but if you join between now and the end of the 2020, the end of the year, I think they're still running a sale where it's like $18 or $19 to join. So it's like $1 and change per month. And it's just billed up front. So anyways, check them out. Link in the description if you want to. People have asked me, like, what do I get when I join? So here's a couple screenshots of like the graphics that they make available. As you can see, they just have like various styles of these sunsets that, again, you can pretty much just download, drag, drop into your t-shirt designing template and then add some text. You know, that's pretty much it. That's what I do. If you're wondering like what I do, and by the way, I'm not claiming to be the best t-shirt designer ever. Like I said, tomorrow I'm doing my video with Juno from Detour Shirts. He's a designer, so he crushes me when it comes to design, but I'm leveling the playing field a little bit by using the professional graphic designers at AllSunsets, the graphics that they create. And again, it's like less than $20 for a year. And when you join for a year, you get access to all the graphics that already exist and all the ones that will exist from the day you join plus 1 year. So it's a pretty good deal. So here's some more of their graphics. As you can see, variety. It's not just the same style. Some of the graphics like melt out of the actual sunset in the background. Lots of different color schemes, etc. And when you get the sunsets that don't have anything other than the sunset, again, it's very easy to then overlay another image, a silhouette, and then cut that out. And then you've got a custom sunset with the silhouette in it. So you can do editing to these graphics, and it's pretty easy. All right, and that's it. Last thing I just wanted to remind you, I have a full print-on-demand course, 10 modules, over 100 lectures, showing how I make 6-figure print-on-demand sales each year, and I've made 6-figure profits since I started my journey. So literally everything is passed on in that course if you're interested. Link in the description. But thanks for watching till the end, guys. Appreciate you. Do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed, and I will see you tomorrow with that interview with Detour Shirts.